Scream 7's right around the corner, and the movie could suck, or it could be awesome.
Now, we're wrong about a lot of things. Most things, probably. But we did think of some things that we might not be wrong about, and we wanted to share them today.
If the title wasn't a dead giveaway, we have some more theories for you guys.
Now, one of the ones that we've thought of is, with Chad and Mindy being the only two of the core four coming back, what if they're not going to be potential victims, but rather the killers themselves?
Evil masterminds?
Maybe. Mindy would be.
Nobody knows the genre better. Well,
No one.
I think most people in these movies actually know the genre better than Mindy, but she is who we are told is the expert.
I love Mindy.
What are the odds that they survive the 2 Ghostface attacks with the core 4, and then a story completely unrelated they're just shoehorned right in? Feels like maybe they could be behind something.
Also, too, with Chad's character, I've never necessarily had a problem with him, but I feel like if they try to go the route again of the third movie in the row where he ends up getting stabbed, they might as well do the killer route. That way, at least he dies. Because I was so sure that he was done in Scream 6, the way it went down.
He stabbed 17 times.
A lot. And in the front and the back at the same time. And he didn't walk away, but ended the same way it ended with Scream 5 with him getting into an ambulance.
Yep.
And I feel like here's your chance to at least flip that, rather than just trying to do what they did with Dewey, which was in the original trilogy, which is to basically stab him and mess him up as much as possible, and he still walks away.
He's always the protector, the hero, and this would be a nice subversion of expectations. That and the whole Randy-Mindy comparison. Obviously, she's survived exactly what Randy went through on a train versus in a van, but
that's true.
Think between some of the breadcrumbs that were left in 6, something to the effect of the 4 survivors from 5 potentially having what happened to them warp their brains and stuff like that and turn them into attention-starved sociopaths. I think it's a possibility.
And they're twins. Twins are supposed to feel each other's pain.
They do. And if he got stabbed 17 times, she got stabbed twice, then he got stabbed like those 4 other, maybe 7 other times in Scream 5.
A lot
it's enough
of
to drive somebody crazy. And that is going to bring us to our second theory, which is that Stu is alive in real time, but maybe he's not a killer. Maybe he's not exactly who we think he's going to be.
It wouldn't be the first time a horror movie's done that, so it is possible. I know they tried to do that with Psycho 2, where Norman Bates is out, and he's supposed to be this reformed citizen, even though there's still those hallucinations and itches of the monster that he was. And this is also non-horror related, but they tried to do that in Batman the Animated Series with the Penguin, where he was this crime boss, but then he was suddenly trying to be this upstanding citizen. Yeah. So it wouldn't be the first time, and it's completely possible. And if they were to do that, it'd be kind of interesting to see how they would tool. He was Psycho in the original movie, obviously. Can't do that and not be. But he was obviously very much like the submissive.
It was peer pressure. And I think that that's a way that you can justify not knowing where he's been and stuff like that is...
Took a plea deal, now he's in some institution.
But obviously there are the lines in Scream 6 where Kirby, an FBI agent, addresses his death and stuff. So I think that this one's more along the lines of just a fun theory that I feel like if you put the right writers in a room, they can absolutely write their ways out of the corner. But I don't know, I think that would be an interesting direction to take it, and something that I can absolutely see somebody like Kevin Williamson doing, because he knows going into this movie that all of us think we know exactly what this is going to be. And I think if I'm the director of that movie, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what everybody thinks I'm going to do.
Very true. Is there like somebody that's credited for story, or is there just the screenwriter?
I think it's just Guy Busick.
If they let Kevin Williamson at least come up with the story idea or collaborate with it, it can be something very creative.
And that's something that I think just in general is happening. I don't think that Kevin Williamson, one of horror's darlings in terms of writers, is involved with this project and isn't at least consulting. I don't see that being a possibility.
Especially at the helm now.
So I would expect that this movie isn't going to be exactly what we all think that it's going to be, and it's going to do everything in its power to subvert our expectations. If you have seen a theory about cults, if you've seen a theory about really anything, they've thought about it.
Something else that we have presented was also the idea that Sidney is now just living, or at least trying to live, just a boring life, a mundane life. Break away from the stereotype Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018, where now she's this recluse, almost
Sarah Connor-esque.
just ready for a fight, always shooting guns. She's just trying to be a regular suburban mom. Even in Scream 5, we first see her, she's out jogging with her children. She's supposed to look like the mom that you just see up and down your street, suburban street. So that's potentially something rather than being ready for doomsday.
And I think that would be a fun turn of heel, because I think all of us going in have an expectation of what we think this movie is going to be, and I think all of us going in think right back to the line from Scream 5 where she says, "I'm Sidney fucking Prescott, of course I have a gun." I just think that it would be a lot more entertaining to step away from that mentality and get into we've seen the reclusive Sidney, we've seen the victim, we've seen all shades of what she's gone through here. I think it would be entertaining to just watch a Sidney trying hell to force herself into a mundane, normal life.
Not trying to be some lone wolf survivor warrior. She's just trying to be a person out there because she's, rather than trying to just live every day for the pain and remind herself of her past, she's like, let me move forward rather than just sit and wait for the next bad thing to happen.
Which, another reason that could be entertaining is just watching her try to cram herself into that life, because she is a survivor. She is ultimately going to be a fish out of water in that situation.
Exactly. This is going to be different for her regardless if that's the route they were to take.
We've seen Sidney in Woodsboro, and we've seen Sidney up against Ghostface, but we've never seen Sidney mom, wife. And for our fourth and final theory, I think that there's going to be a Ghostface kill early in the movie, and by that I don't mean that Ghostface is going to kill somebody early in the movie. I think one of the killers is going to be either revealed accidentally or killed early off in the movie, and it's going to leave the one or maybe two other Ghostfaces a little bit more desperate. And so we're going to watch as things play out in real time in the movie and things become more intense after that.
And that would definitely break away from the formula of the last 6 movies, where the reveal in the third act, the killer monologue, why they're doing what they're doing, and then their inevitable death. It would be interesting to see what if one of the killers, presuming that there are 2 of them again, what if one of the killers messes up when it's their turn to do the round of murders and such gets killed by the person they're trying to kill. So now that can be used as an opportunity both as this is going to start leading them to the other person now, and now the other killer has to scramble and restructure whatever their original plan was.
And I think it's a good difference from the opening of Scream 6, because obviously we have the killer reveal pretty early in Scream 6, but they played it safe, and they show us he wasn't a part of the actual tribe of killers from that movie. He was just a side story. And making somebody that's intentionally supposed to be centralized to the story, that's centralized to this mission that these killers are on, I think getting rid of one of them and watching how that affects the other is kind of interesting.
I honestly wouldn't even mind, actually, if they would, hypothetically, none of this happened whatsoever. It would be interesting to see if they would spin it and go back to doing one singular killer. If it's truly as dark and brutal as Mason Gooding was trying to paint it out to be, what if they go the Scream 3 route, make it, like I said, one singular killer, and then... But I would be interested to see the mess up of one half of this new duo, and we just see, once again, they can use this person as a clue, or they can use that as the new red herring. Oh, it's pointing towards this person, and then when the reveal happens, it's way out of left field again.
Which is absolutely what they should have done with Scream 3, because let's face it, Roman could not have been everywhere that he was supposed to have been, and we know there was supposed to be a second killer in that movie, and I believe it was Angelina. And I think that this would be a good way to rectify that, especially if you're going to bring Roman back into this story to any capacity. Pay the respect there by acknowledging, or at least drawing the parallel of what should have been.
He just wanted to make a romance.
That's going to do it for us today. Those were our 4 theories.
Like I said, we're wrong a lot, but
Most of the time.
But what if we're not wrong about this stuff? Or even some of it?
Could be pretty cool if we weren't.
We'll take 1.
Or 2. Preferably 4.
We'll take 1 or 2.
I'm greedy. Speaking of greed, I really enjoy comments, so please feel free to share your own theories down in the comments because that's keeping me alive right now. I love the conversation. I think we're both having a blast with it, and like we said in the last couple videos, we only have a finite time before all of this becomes very, here's what the movie's going to be. So from now until then, we're going to keep pumping out as many of these videos as we possibly can, but we're also very curious as to what you guys want to see from us.
Exactly. Comments are the perfect place for you guys to tell us how wrong we are and what you believe it is.
Yeah.
And then I've seen some pretty cool ideas. So what are your guys' cool ideas?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Please.
You let us talk.
But so we've been covering Scream 7 pretty heavily lately, and we've been having a blast doing so. Like I said, we are curious if there's other projects coming out, anything else that we could be talking about with you guys, because again, that's what we want to do. We're here for the engagement, make no money. Just friends.